Welcome to JMR Talks. In our last episode of Managers, Choice is Yours, we looked at the concept of management, manager, what does they do, and the two powerful mantras you could use at the workplace to get the outstanding effort from the people. In this talk, we'll discuss about the choices before a manager. But before that, a question might arise as to why make a choice? As we sow, so we reap. The choice is before us. Would we like to be smart or what I call lazy? So let's look at briefly the choices a manager has before him. Number one, does he want to be a taker or a giver? If we go through the annals of history, we don't find any proof of takers being honored. It was always what we call the givers, like Mother Teresa or Kalamsa. The beauty of a person's character can be judged how he treats someone who can do him or her no good. And the most important choice a manager has is to whether to pass on the credit or take the debit. Let us look at Jonas Salk, the inventor of polio vaccine. But after the invention, he failed to give the credit to his team, tried to steal the whole limelight for himself. But what is the result? There was no influential discovery again after that. So, given the fact that there is no evidence of honoring takers, and there's a beauty of happiness of giving, a manager should always try to pass on the credit and take the debit, and that's how he instills confidence in the minds of the people. We have seen in one of our episode how Satish Dhawan sir took the entire blame when the satellite launch was failed, and it was Kalam Saab who was to address the press. But ultimately, when the second time satellite launch was successful, though Satish Dhawan sir was to address the press, he called Kalam Saab to do that. That's the beauty. The second choice, like every human being, a manager has to decide whether he would like to be lazy or he would like to be active. And more so in the current environment when we are talking about being agile, being resilient, being flexible, etc. etc. Once upon a time, two people went to an astrologer. Astrologer, having looked at the chart and all that, he said one of them is going to become a king and other going to die. After this, what happened? The person who was to become king, as per the astrologer's prediction, he started indulging in all kinds of indiscriminate acts, doing bad things and all that. Whereas the other person who was said to be what I call die, he started doing some good deeds, trying to help the people around, trying to make a difference to the people around. And after 10 years, the person who was to die, he became a king because of the good deeds. And the person who was to become king was caught and put behind the jail. So, what is the message for all of us? As we sow, so we reap. Sow the wind, reap the whirlwind. So, the choice is before the managers. Do they wish to be active, continuously engage with their people, try to get the insights into their behavior, and accordingly, what will inspire them to give their best, or simply be lazy and don't evince interest in his team members, etc. The third one, fear or faith. Generally, people say that it is the events that determine our emotions like fear, anger, etc. But no, it's not the events, it's our beliefs. Let's look at a story, small story. Once, a old donkey fell into a what we call deep well and started crying for help. The owner, the farmer, tried his level best to pull her up, but he couldn't do that. And it was an old donkey. And the neighbors advised him, "There's no point in what I call wasting your efforts and all that. Let's bury it." So he picked up a what I call shovel and started throwing dirt into the well. Initially, the donkey started crying for help, but after some time, it quiet down. So the farmer and the neighbors too were a bit surprised. And when they looked at what they found is amazing. Whenever the dirt is being what I call thrown up her, she was shaking and trying to come up. It so happened that after some time he came up the what I call well and walked away. So what is the message to all of us? There's no point in being fearful as such. Have confidence, dare to dream, and strive to achieve. The next one, hard work and the smart work. Nowadays, most of the youngsters they talk about smart work. Let us be smart in our presentation, in our negotiation. But in my opinion, hard work precedes what we call smart work. There is a saying, Krishito nasti durbiksha. When we put our efforts, we don't need to worry about our survival as such. Many of us, we have perfect plans, but when it comes to the execution, it falls apart. Some of us refer to this as intention action gap. Like at the beginning of every new year, many of us might be coming up with some resolutions. But how many of us really act on them? Let us keep one thing in our mind: no pain, no gain. There was a marble, museum. The entire floor was laid on with the marble tiles, and in between there was a beautiful marble statue. So most of the visitors visiting the museum, they were walking on the marble tiles, but hardly looked at them. But all of them, going near the waterfall marble statue and appreciating its beauty. Throughout the day, the same thing. In the evening, the marble tiles had a conversation with the statue. They said, "Look, you're also made of a marble. We are also made of a marble. But how come that people ignore us, coming straight away to you, looking at your beauty and appreciating it?" The marble statue paused for a while. "Yes, my dear friends, I'm also made of a marble, like you." Then the marble asked, "What is the difference then?" The difference is when the sculptor started acting on some of you, what did you do? The marble said, "No, it was paining when he was hitting with his sickle and all that. So we resisted." Yes, there lies the difference. When he started working on you people, you resisted, unable to what I call bear the pain. Whereas me, I have voluntarily surrendered, allowed him to the work the way he would like to. He went on chiseling it till he could, make a beautiful statue the way I am standing here. So, what's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is that there's no bed of roses. There will be ups and downs in life. Look at the ECG graph. I'm sure none of us will expect a straight line. So let us not worry about the results, put our best efforts, and leave the rest to the Almighty. Thank you.